Oh, hello, we're back. Who knew? We're, just chatting away here with Call for Actions.
Morning, yeah.
Just rolling with it, winging it, Buffalo style. Call for Actions Alvados is here now to speak about a serious topic, a housing crisis for people with developmental disabilities, a topic that's really near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
You also have Barb DeLong here along with you from the Developmental Disability Alliance of Western New York. Tell us, I guess, what the crisis is at this point. What's the issue here?
Well, the crisis here is residential services, and Barb can probably, Barb can tell us a lot because of her personal experience, but there's a growing need for residential services for people with developmental disabilities, but it seems like, at least in the state of New York, it's going back the other way, where they're pretty much frozen out. They're not adding new, they're not approving new residential facilities for them. And Barb sees that coming down the road very shortly with her daughter Laura, and she can tell us the story of Laura.
What is her story?
Well, my daughter is, first of all, I'm with the family committee of DAWNY, which is Developmental Disability Alliance of Western New York, and we're a group of parents, concerned parents, and we're trying to get more parents involved because there's over 12,000 people on the waiting list in New York State alone for residential housing. And in Western New York and the Finger Lakes, there's 1,887 people that we know of that are on the waiting list. Laura's 20.
And that's doubled. That's double that just in the last year.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible.
Right, and there's people out there that we know that don't even know to be on the list.
Yep.
And so that number is a small number. There's been a moratorium on spending since 2008. There's been no new bills. And we all know that we're in a fiscal crisis, both at the state and federal level. So there has to be a way that we find methods to provide for our most vulnerable population that there is.
Well, what are some of those methods at this point? I mean, if they're on this waiting list and on the waiting list for such a long time, what's next? How do we fix that?
Well, one of the things we did on Friday is we invited 20 legislators to a huge legislative breakfast where we informed our legislators and the families there of the crisis, where we talk to them about how they need to be involved. So we're not throwing it over the wall. We want to work side by side with them to find creative situations, to find a revenue stream that will fund not just the building of homes, but also the operations, because that's really where the money is operating those. And there's a lot of different approaches to do that.
And we're seeing here, Al, you moderated this discussion. Tell me, as moderator, what you learned.
Well, I learned that there are a number of state lawmakers and actually federal lawmakers here in the Western New York delegation that are committed to helping out folks who have developmental disabilities, and with Barb's cause here, and that's for the residential services. And I got to tell you, we've almost missed the whole point of Barb, and that's her daughter Laura, who's 20 years old. Beautiful young lady. Just tell us some more about Laura.
I'll tell you a little bit about her. She's going to be 21 in March. She's the joy of our life, my husband and I, but she requires 24/7 care. She doesn't talk. She needs to be fed. She needs to everything done for her. She has no fine motor skills. They did say she'd never do any of those things, but she learned how to walk when she was 12 years old, and she enjoys life, and she's a joy to anybody that she meets. But my husband and I are not going to live forever, and families cannot be caregivers forever. We have aging parents everywhere, parents that have medical issues, and so we need some help.
And for more information, of course, you can always log on to WIVB.com or wingit.tv. Al, I know this is your story on Friday, so obviously there's a whole lot more to go into this.
A whole lot more.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Let's go over to Nalina Shapiro standing by in the newsroom with Ross Barbera for a check of what's going on today in News 4. Nalina.